Hey guys, I have a really easy DIY video for you today. This is going to be a tutorial on how to make your own sublingual oil from isolate. I've already got one made here. As you can see, this is kind of what my finished product will look like. This is just an old CB Distillery bottle, so this is not actually a CB Distillery oil in there. To make your oil, you're going to need a few tools and ingredients. First, you may or may not need a scale. The reason why you may need a scale is if you're doing it like me, where I have this 3.5 grams of isolate powder, but I only want to use 500 milligrams of that. I need to be able to measure it out with some accuracy, so I need a scale. But you can also buy, powders in whole gram amount. So let's say you want 1,000 milligrams of isolate in your oil. You could just buy 1 whole gram and you wouldn't really need to measure it out. So you need the scale. That's found on Amazon, other online sites, maybe even a local store. I just got this one that was relatively inexpensive. I think it was $14. Doesn't need to be fancy, just needs to be able to measure with some accuracy. You're gonna need your isolate. I have this powder form from CB Distillery. It's 99.9% pure, that's what I want. You can also get this in the slab form, like this. Same thing, just less. This is 0.5 grams, so you could use just an entire thing of this if you wanted 500 milligrams as a slab. I find the powders easier to work with, but it's up to you. You could also potentially use things like this. I've got this Jack Herer high terp isolate. This is basically a terpsilate, so it's isolate with terpenes infused in it. This is the slab form. I could use that. I could use this full spectrum slab with terpenes. This is from Phytodabs. Similar idea. And then here's a CB Distillery terpsilate, which is more crumbly instead of a slab form. And I could use that. So you could use all kinds of things. It needs to be a concentrate, but I'm going to show you with this powder today. You also will need a dropper bottle. This is just one I cleaned out. It was an old CB Distillery bottle. It's 15 milliliters. You could use 30 milliliters. You could use whatever size you want, but I'm gonna use this one because it's the one I have. You're gonna need your carrier oil. I've got some liquid coconut oil. You could use olive oil, grapeseed oil, hemp seed oil, MCT oil, whatever you want. Look online, you can find different, articles about absorption rates, because MCT oil is supposed to be some of the best, as well as coconut oil for helping the product absorb, but other ones can have benefits too. So really just look into that to decide what you want, or what is cost effective to you, because MCT oil, for example, can be quite expensive, whereas you could just use olive oil from your grocery store. You're also going to need a way to measure the oil. Now I have this because I don't have a measuring cup small enough, but it's not the best because it actually, I've noticed, goes over, because I have measured it out before when I use that one. It kind of goes over 15 milliliters if I do 3 of these. So I'm going to try to eye it a little bit and try not to spill. Probably will, but you need to be able to measure it out. These are going to help me get it to the exact amount that I want. And then also I have this little cup, which I'm going to use at the end for a hot water bath to help it dissolve. You don't necessarily need to do that step, but it's useful and helpful. Where you can purchase dropper bottles, you can find them on Amazon and pretty much any online site that sells even things for like essential oils, whatever. Just make sure it's safe to use for food safe, things like that. So we're gonna get started and let's do it. Okay, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I need to get my oil into my bottle. Now technically you could do it where you measure your oil out into a separate container, measure isolate into that separate container, mix it, and then pour it into the bottle. But I like doing it all at once, just into here. It skips some cleaning steps, and also if you do it into a second vessel, a cup, there is the potential that the oil and the isolate mixed into that oil could stick to the sides of the cup, and you're not getting all of it into your product or your dropper for your end product. So just something to be aware of. It's not a big deal, it's really up to you, but I'm going to do it this way. So I'm going to try to measure out 15 milliliters as best as I can. I might have to take some out if it turns out it's too much, but we'll see. So that's 5. It's already pretty close. Because I need to account for the dropper that's going to be in there. Let me see how... See, it says there's like 2 milliliters left. Let me see how much it raises. Okay, I can still go a little bit. Save. So 1 milliliter of oil apparently is left. It might not be accurate. Yeah, see, I can barely, when I add the dropper, I can barely go over that. But that's just about it. I'm not gonna do anymore. So, in the end, assuming this is accurate and maybe the bottle's smaller, enough to where maybe the actual bottle is 15 milliliters, but they didn't account for the dropper, so I've only actually got 14 milliliters of oil in there. I'm gonna do my dosing based on 14 milliliters of oil. So that's something to look out for right there. So I have this done. I'm gonna close this up. Now our next step is going to be adding the powder onto the scales, measure it out, and then into the bottle. Okay, so my scale measures in grams, but it is quite accurate and there's multiple decimal places. 1 gram of isolate would equal 1,000 milligrams of isolate. So 0.5 is what I want to see. So 500 milligrams. We'll say that's it. So I've got 0.5 grams, which equals 500 milligrams of my 99.9% pure isolate. So now I need to very carefully try to get it into the oil bottle. There might be some that sticks behind on that little container, but it'll be okay. That should be okay. That should be enough as we can do. So it already started immediately dissolving, which is good. There's a tiny bit on the throat there. Close this up. Let's see. It's mostly clear, but I can see some slight crystals in there. Not much. If I did have a higher concentration, for example, if I had done a full 1,000, 1,500, whatever in here, it might have more trouble dissolving than just a small amount like 500 I did. If you were wanting to do a really high concentration, the highest I would go would be about 5,000 milligrams in a 30 milliliter bottle. That should be safe to still do, and it should still dissolve. So to get this to dissolve even more, and especially if you're having issues, we're gonna do a hot water bath. So we'll move on to that step. So I have this cup of hot water. It's not boiling hot, it's more than warm. It just needs to be hot enough to help that dissolve. There is a temperature at which cannabinoids can degrade. You can look up that specific temperature if you want to actually get it super accurate to make sure you don't go over it. But my tap water can get pretty hot, and it's not so hot that I can't put my hand under it. That's enough for me. So I'm going to sit this in here and lean it up against there. Now you want to let this sit long enough that it'll help it along, but it doesn't take super long. I'd say 15 to 30 minutes. I've seen people leave it for hours. I think that is unnecessary for what we're doing, especially since I have only 500 milligrams in there. So I'm gonna do like 15 minutes and then check it. So it's been about 15 minutes and everything has dissolved. There are no crystals in there, nothing whatsoever. It looks good. So that is done. If I just wanted this, this would be my end product, you know, 100% done. But there are going to be people who do this and they want to add extra terpenes. Now is when I would add it. Terpenes are mostly liquidy oil type of substance, so it shouldn't need to be done before the hot water bath. I would just add your 1 or 2 drops of terpenes right at the end. And then, you know, roll it and shake it to help it fully mix in there. Read the guides that come with your terpenes. Hopefully it will come with your terpenes. Maybe it's on the website of people you purchased from, but there are dilution guides because terpenes do need to be diluted. So read what they recommend for the percentage of dilution they recommend. Usually it's no more than 1 or 2 drops in a bottle like this. But other than that, this is done. I've got 2, you know, 500 milligram of isolate bottles. I can use these however I want. Hope this was helpful. I hope to be providing even more videos with the rest of the isolate I have in here, and I hope you guys can now go and make your own sublingual oils from isolate.